Mahomes out to Kelsey. His first catch of the game. It's a gain of 4. Pacheco has it. And a nice second effort. Gets it 2 yards shy of the first down. Bradley Chubb. Mahomes out to Sky Moore. First down. From Miami's 36. Mahomes caught. Noah Gray inside the 15. Mahomes quick throw. That's Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice. Touchdown.
We love, as offensive people, Jason, when defenses blitz, the easy answer for us is screen out on the perimeter.
And the tough thing as a secondary, when you know you're coming with pressure, you have to trust it.
With Tyreek Hill like crouching before he mows. And Tua goes down. Pressure by Jalen Watson. Instead, it was just a good tackle. 3rd and 5. Mahomes throws it outside. Rice. Nice grab to move the chains. The wave has broken out here in Frankfurt as there's a catch over the middle by Tony to the 45. 4:34 to go, second quarter. Mahomes retreats and finds Sky Moore for first down and more. Calling it 3rd and 3 officially. Mahomes with the edges rushing around him, finds McKinnon. Jarek McKinnon. Touchdown. Flag is down, but it's in the secondary.
Patience in the pocket. Really good job by his offensive line, and Jet McKinnon, one of those trustworthy guys.
Tua out to Hill. That goes nowhere. Ball's loose. It is loose and picked up and lateraled. Brian Cook. Touchdown. Kansas City.
What a play is right. Trent McDuffie making the tackle, is able to strip that thing out of there. That was unbelievable. Mike Edwards does a great job. He can't get any more yardage. Here, Brian Cook, you take it and get the ball, and it's your turn to run it down the sideline. What a turn of events right there.
Well, there's a huddle of zebras inside the 5. What are they discussing?
Covered by the defense, which did result in a touchdown.
So they're saying it's what the ruling on the field is. Maybe they're talking if Tyreek didn't have it long enough.
Doesn't it look right when he makes the catch? That ball like starts to come out. I mean, but it looks like he's got possession there.
Gene Steratore, we'll get to him in a second because it has been number 15. Lots of time. And he steps up, and he's got room in front. Makes a move. Patrick Mahomes gets close. Gave everyone a thrill wearing red. Crucial hold right after the takeaway. Tua to his right, still looking to throw, and now he slides down. It's another run for Mostert. The ball's loose. Ball is out. And Tyreek Hill thinks that the Dolphins are on it. Ahmed going nowhere. That was Willie Gay who slung him down. Play clock winding down. They get it off. Tua. Down he goes. McDuffie was the first to arrive. And Wharton cleaned it up. Tua fumbles it, and that's the way the game ends. On a wayward snap.
All right. Welcome in to the Red Hour, week 9. And we're doing it virtually tonight because half of the crew is traveling back from Germany. So we got nephew trapped in the party gate somewhere in Atlanta. How you doing, nephew?
I'm good. South
Uh,
Korea. South Korea is where I'm at.
South Korea Airlines?
Yep.
Is it the Spirit Airlines of South Korea, or at least
No, it's like Soul Plane.
literally, because they're probably going to Seoul, Korea. I get it. I see what you did there. We also got DJ Q. What's up, bro?
What's poppin'?
It is a Victory Monday. We are talking about the Chiefs 21, Dolphins 14 on a very, very early game for us stateside. It's 8:30 a.m. It was a game, but in Frankfurt, it was an afternoon game, I guess. How was that stadium, Steve?
It's really nice. I had no idea that it was a covered stadium. The stadium only holds about 44,000 people. It's a soccer stadium.
Yeah.
So if you can picture like international soccer stadium, looks bigger on camera, but it was an amazing atmosphere inside of there.
Yeah, they showed us how the umbrella roof closed and opened up. So right before the game, they showed it closed, and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of cool."
Yeah,
Arrowhead need one of those.
It's open, so it's also open air around the
Yeah.
rim of the roof. So I mean, it's about 45 degrees outside. So once the wind started blowing, it was a little chilly. So there was no press box, so that they had us like actually sitting in the stand, so we could hear like all the fans. So this Dolphins fan was yelling, "Get the ball!" next to me the whole game. I'm like, "Come on, bro."
Well, he definitely had to be yelling that a lot yesterday during that game. Q and I last week were trying to pin the scientific explanation for the late travel and the distance and leaving Denver and how this would affect the players. And they actually did a story about that on 2 of the networks before the game started as I was watching pregame, because they were concerned as well by Andy Reid choosing to not change how he travels, whether the game is international or if it's domestic. And he wanted everything to feel as normal as it would be. And we all know that Miami got there earlier in the week. But turns out, didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't matter at all. This Chiefs victory, I think, is twofold. It shows, one, that we are still that team that will find a way to win outside of Denver and Detroit. We will find a way to win a ball game. And 2, this Dolphins team, they can run. And when I asked Q like 4 or 5 weeks ago, was this Dolphins team real? Because they're putting up 40 burgers on people. And Q was like, "Oh, yeah, you see, they just look like they're not playing anybody." And true to Dolphins fashion, once they play a winning squad, they fold.
Yeah.
So, Q, you watched this game yesterday. Go ahead.
No, I'll say the stat came up. I think it said they haven't beat a winning team in like 22 tries or something like that. It was something like that. Like going back to like, or maybe it was going back to last season or something like that. Yeah, it was something ridiculous.
Yeah,
and that kind of, well, it really didn't change my view of the team. I think actually seeing them play the Chiefs really kind of changed my view on them a little bit, because they just seem like a young team still trying to figure it out. And I mean, maybe it's the difference of the Chiefs being in Kansas City, being in the slower market versus them being in Miami, being in the thick of it, all of that, which I don't know if do Dolphins players have.
Your moisturizer froze you up. I didn't hear what you said. Do Dolphins players do what? All right. So with this game, and we talked about, they had inside information with Tyreek Hill and all the Tyreek noise, because he's been talking since he's gotten to Miami about how he is going to give us the business and he is going to do that and he can't wait to play us and all of this nonsense. And we shut Tyreek down, like down.
Really did. I think the Chiefs defense took pride in that. I mean, the question was asked during the press conference on Friday to Chris Jones, like, what do you guys think about what Tyreek said? And I believe Darren asked the question. And Chris was just like, they didn't really want to give bulletin board material, but they said just enough to let us all know that, hey, we are, we're
Looking forward to this matchup.
Yeah, we're still the Chiefs. Like, we're his team that he played for. We're not worried about anything.
And Tyreek has been uncharacteristically quiet since that loss, by the way, because usually he'd be running his mouth and saying something else by now, but that hasn't happened. Now, this Chiefs defense is a really, really young defense, as a matter of fact. And there's now the question of, is this the best defense currently in the NFL?
I think so. It's the best defense that I've seen that the Chiefs have had, and it's the best defense for sure that Patrick Mahomes has had as well. So, and
Patrick said it a few times too. He said they need to stop saying that this is the best Chiefs defense and start saying that this is the best defense in the NFL.
I think so. You looking at a bunch of young guys that have all bought in to one goal, and they also at the beginning of the season they also talked about how much they all hang out outside of the field. I don't know if it was UQ that talked about them having fun. On the offensive side of the ball, this defense is the how the offense was, the past few years, having fun, hanging out. You can just tell they all like each other and they've all bought in. And when they all just know where the other one's going to be. Especially if you see like Trent McDuffie, the fumble, the pitch back from to I believe it was Brian Cook. They just know, they just know where each other's going to be, and you can tell by how they're playing.
And the one thing that I loved most about the game that stood out for me was the fact that Tyreek was going to hand us the business, and he didn't score anything. And Tyreek mentioned to one of the sports outlets that if he doesn't score a touchdown against these Chiefs, he's not going to sleep well for a couple of weeks. So look for Tyreek after their bye week to have some bloodshot eyes. But two, the fact that we not only shut him down, but we took the ball from him, did a lateral, and then scored on him.
And I was thinking about that. It seemed to me like he made it all about himself, which was to me was really selfish. Of course, everybody knows you're playing your former team, and he made it all about himself, and he lost that game for them yesterday.
I mean, he bought into the hype. I think that was his issue, is that he had bought, not only bought into the hype, was also trying to sell it. Like, he had been trying to sell it since the offseason.
He got a podcast he got to get viewers for.
Yeah. And I think he gets caught up in that. And I mean, that was part of my point before my Wi-Fi went nuts. But a part of that, the Chiefs being in a slower market, they're able to have that camaraderie, whereas, in Miami, everybody's probably doing their own thing on South Beach. Like, I don't know if Dolphins players have pool on South Beach, but
they do.
But either way, I mean, I expect that they do. I mean, a lot of them are millionaires, and I mean, it's a hot
now
team.
I've got something that might counter your point. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit. We're going to welcome Darren Smith live from Frankfurt, Germany, on to the line now. Darren, welcome.
Hey, fellas, what's going on?
Yeah.
Hey, it is Quiet Storm. It's 2:00 in the morning over there, huh?
Nah, that's not Quiet Storm. He sounds like he's on punishment. Hey, guys.
It's 2:00 in the morning, man. I have to stay up way too late for y'all, so I must love this. So,
don't act like you're staying up.
I gotta be there for 4 hours, man. I gotta be there for 4 hours.
First of all,
I gotta watch a football game. I gotta watch my bets and still get to the airport on time.
You don't have to do any of that, but sleep on that 11-hour flight. So that's on you.
Don't and tell him don't act like he don't stay up anyway till 2:00 in the morning over there the past few days watching the sports.
5 o'clock. Who's counting?
See?
And shout out to Darren, who was throwing shady darts at me and Q on Twitter, making noise about us. Yeah, you were.
No. I was actually talking about Chiefs Kingdom, who was complaining all week about why are they leaving? Why are they leaving on Thursday? Why they're not leaving like Miami on Monday? Like, look, they left on a Thursday to play the Detroit Tigers in 2015. It works for them. That's how Andy is. So
Yeah, next time, just add us, player.
And since y'all,
All right.
y'all did bring that up, I know y'all sent. No one responded to the article I sent about the plane that they took. Because if y'all remember last week, I said Andy is going to make sure that they have the best of the best, and everyone had like a lay down type plane or lay down type seat. So they weren't going to take just the Spirit.
And shout out to the Chiefs because that plane was actually it's called the Rosie Lee, which is actually my late mother-in-law's name. So shout out to the Chiefs for traveling in style for real. That's probably why they won, as my daughter said. So here are my key takeaways from this game. They tried to get Pacheco into the game and get the run game going, and I still don't think they did it enough. And I think that if they give Pacheco at least 15 carries a game, that it might start to be a little more effective. What are your thoughts on that, Darren?
I mean, I would agree. I think that was a big case last week when they only rushed him for eight times in the ball game. But then, as usual, they still kind of went away from the run game in the second half, which was kind of surprising when you saw how dreadful the passing game was.
And that's the other thing. This offense really needs to get it together. We are at week 9. We have a bye week. And between Patrick talking about how this defense is amazing, he did keep mentioning that he himself has got to do better and this offense has got to do what it needs to do. And he says that it will get better by the time the season gets to where it needs to be. And we're past the halfway point now, so it's where it needs to be.
We'll see. Saying and doing are two different things.
Yeah,
exactly.
We're almost at the point of no return right now. It's fortunate. They're very fortunate that this defense is playing, better than expected.
And I sent it in our group chat yesterday during the game. Andy Reid's play calling, especially third and short. What the hell is going on?
So does he miss Eric Bieniemy? Like, is that? I know Steve talked about missing EB from a rah-rah motivational sense. But are we missing his, anything?
He was more cheerleading coach, man. I got to take a little offense to that. He was more just a rah-rah coach. He was someone that got those players behind that made, like all those drop passes. That stuff that wouldn't, that wouldn't happen if he was still the coach, because he would hold them accountable. And not only would he jump on them in the game, but once he corrected it, he would be their biggest cheerleader. But he would also make sure that they would work on that stuff in practice as well. I mean, that type of stuff does not translate over to the ball game. And one of the bigger things also that we're seeing, and it's very prevalent, and I brought it up in the press conference yesterday, is the amount of turnovers the amount of penalties that this team is causing itself week in and week out, and that's going to be the killer outside of those drop passes.
But also on top of that, I think that Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid, they balance themselves out, because everybody knows that Andy Reid is a pass first coach. Eric Bieniemy was a run first, being a former running back. So come hell or high water, Eric was going to get Isaiah Pacheco the ball. And it'd be on Patrick to either check out of it or Andy to veto it, because Andy always talks about that he had 51% of the vote. So I mean, you could just tell that this is on. I would say it's on Andy. I don't think that Matt Nagy has anything to do with calling the plays.
Well,
all right. Go ahead.
John, that Nagy is not going to be as, let's just say, abrasive as Eric Bieniemy is. Obviously one's a quarterback, one's a running back. I'm not sure where Nagy's from, but Eric Bieniemy being from California, he's going to get in the players' faces and stuff and challenge them. We don't see that from Nagy or even Eric Bieniemy. So when Patrick Mahomes tells me after the Super Bowl that Eric Bieniemy holds these players accountable, who is actually holding these players accountable when they're having the drives and stuff like that?
Well, I read, I think it was Sports Illustrated posted this morning that a fan caught Matt Nagy on camera getting into the offensive lineman's face during the game yesterday, and then Patrick Mahomes kind of followed up after Matt Nagy walked off. So I think he might be trying to get that, but if that's not your personality, then people are gonna look at that like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah, you can't turn that new leaf.
Yeah.
No. That's like a substitute teacher coming in, and you're like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
It is time for our first break of the evening. It is a Chiefs victory Monday. The Chiefs did their thing at Eurohead yesterday in Frankfurt, Germany. We'll talk more about that game. We'll talk about what we're expecting after this bye week, some of the other games that happen around the league, and got a question for you, Darren. Coming up after this break, we'll be back. It's the Red Hour. Back in moments.
Time to put in work. We all got a job to do.
We are back. We are back here. I am in Antwerp, in Atlanta. I think Darren, you are still back there in Frankfurt. And Q, man, I want to know how you felt about this game, because you definitely said that this team, the Chiefs, would be losing to Miami Dolphins. I think you're on mute, Q.
Yeah, sorry, I was still on mute. But yeah, no, I definitely thought they would. I thought the Miami defense would show up. But as I was saying earlier, the first part when I got cut off is I look at this Miami team a lot different now, and especially when you look at how they haven't beaten a team with a winning record over the last 2 seasons. Like that's a huge indictment, and it's an indictment because I mean this is your second year together. Like they can't really blame the newness. Like you have Mostert doing a great job at running back. I mean, you have the offense that's capable of putting up 70 points. Like, why is it that when you're facing contenders, why can't turn that corner? Why can't you win the close games? You know, like what? It's just a lot of question
Do you blame
marks.
Tua? Do you blame Tua?
No, I don't think I blame Tua. I think I think there's a whole systemic issue with them. I think the coach, one, might be too young, and not young in the sense of um like young in the sense of like immaturity. I think it's just young in the sense of inexperience.
An NFL
And
quarterback. I mean, NFL head coach experience.
well, head coach experience, but also game management.
Yeah.
Andy Reid had a lot of those issues, especially early in his career with Philadelphia, like time, like clock management issues. There were a lot of different issues that he had, which one he still has, that he doesn't like to run the ball. Like he had his issues, and I think that's where Mike McDaniel is at. Like he's in that spot where he just doesn't know how to develop the players at the level that like your Andy Reids would. I mean, even your Sean Paytons, and we're seeing your Eric Bieniemys right now and what he's doing with the Commanders. Like there's a lot of coaches that really command not only a certain respect, but then they do a really good job adjusting at halftime, and
it's almost
figuring
like
out what
he's
the other
like
team
trying
is
to be the
doing.
cool stepdad and work his way in and be
Yeah,
everybody's friends
and
instead
it's
of
not,
doing the discipline.
and that's what Andy Reid was. Like, Andy Reid still is. Like, he's the player's coach. Like, he's the coach that a lot of guys want to play for, especially when they hear about him or they have played with him in the past. And that's just I think that's that's the edge that the Chiefs have. Like, because you don't have an offense that scores at will like you were used to the last 4 or 5 years. So now you have to rely on the defense. But like, the defense here knows each other, and a lot of them, is this their second year together for the most part?
Yeah, for the most
Like,
part.
Yes, and that should have been the Dolphins. Like, that should have been their game to say, like, hey, we're on the rise too. But it's like, no, the Chiefs show their dominance, and especially on defense. And Steve made a point, and I think he made a point back in the Bengals loss, that Tyreek Hill doesn't like to be bullied. And there's some players like that. It's some players that once you stay up in their face, their head is out of the game. And I don't feel like Tyreek was there in the game, because a lot of it was trying to get the hype built up, and it's like, let the NFL do that.
And
Hey, Chef Anthony always says life comes at you fast when you be in the hole.
Yeah, but I think sometimes you can't even blame the coach's age though, because you have some young coaches that have won in the league that are really young. I mean, you look at Sean McVay. What was he, 38, 39 years old, and he won a Super Bowl. But so you have to have the players. If you're going to have a young coach, you have to have the players, some veterans in the room that can motivate the team.
Or even surround yourself with some position coaches who can handle what they're doing and be able to step up when you lack in that area.
Yeah, because I mean, you look at what was that? It was Aaron Donald. You had Aaron Donald. You had some other guys, Cooper Kupp on that team. That some veterans that would look to the young guys and say, "Hey, this is what we're gonna do, and this is how it's gonna be done." I don't know on that Dolphins team if do they have guys like that. I mean, you got Jalen Ramsey and guys, but I don't know.
But that's well, no, I was gonna say, I mean, but they only gave up 14 points for the Chiefs offense. I mean, they Tyreek Hill had the fumble that was scored. So the Chiefs only scored 14 points. So defensively, they did their job. It was just, now offensively, they obviously didn't put enough points on the board.
And that's the engine that runs the team, though. That's the engine that runs. They were going everywhere to getting blown out, though. 21-0. It doesn't matter.
And this is also the team that's been putting up 40 burgers on everybody else. So you can't say that they're not capable, because they've been doing it. Which leads me to the question that I want to ask you, because you have been most critical of this position coach forever, talking about Spags, and now he looks like a freaking genius.
That was last year. I think going into the season, I'm pretty sure I'm on record as saying that he was going to be the reason why the Chiefs were going to be successful this year.
He caught him trash last year. He did call him trash last year.
I think it was 2 or 3 years ago.
You've been calling Spags trash. Every time he has like a horrible game and the defense does something, like, it's Spags, it's Spags.
Yes, 2 years ago, I remember saying Spags to his face that the defense was playing like trash. Yes, but what I'm saying is that this season, because we didn't know the situation with Chris Jones, I said for the Chiefs to be successful, that Spags is going to have to call like the coaching year of his life, and that's what he's done so far. So I stand by everything because I've been correct so far.
All right.
I mean, I don't know what you want to say. I mean, we're starting to see that he was going to be the MVP this year. Then the defense was going to be on point. So,
speaking of MVPs, got to send a shout out to Travis Kelce, who is now the recipient of the most receiving yards in Chiefs history, moving Tony Gonzalez, the Hall of Famer, into second place. So just further solidifying that he is going to be wearing a yellow jacket one day. So congratulations to Travis Kelce, and congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs, because the game yesterday in Eurohead puts the Chiefs as the first franchise in NFL history to win a game in 4 different countries.
That's crazy.
Germany, England, Mexico, and the U.S.
So, fella, I got a question to ask you, and I think Steve and I talked about it a little bit yesterday, but for you and for Sean, for you and Q, what I'm curious is that even though Kelce only had 14 yards receiving, the Chiefs still found a way to win. Now, is that A, good that you can still find a way to win when Kelsey is playing but doesn't have that type of production game? Or is it still a major concern because of what the other receivers could and could not do, as it relates to stat-wise, to put the team in a better position to score more points? Are you either concerned about it or a little relieved?
I think it's.
How it turned out?
I think it's a gaping hole. One, because every team is not going to have a bad offensive day, and so you're gonna need the offense to score 30 points at some point in the season, whether it's the end of the season or whether it's in the playoffs. And yes, the Chiefs could win by running the ball, but if your receivers aren't making that magic, who do you rely on? Because a lot more teams are going to try to double Travis. A lot more teams are seeing that these other guys have to beat you, and if everybody doesn't show up, I think that's more of an indictment on them not making the Super Bowl this year. So
and you weren't here when we talked about it earlier, but this Chiefs team outside of the Denver Broncos, which was just an anomaly in my eyes, and playing a really good Detroit Lions team to open the season, this team is still that team that will find a way somehow to win a game. And they've been doing it for a few seasons now. Even last year when the offense wasn't doing the whole circus thing, we still find a way to win almost every game by 3 points or 7 points or whatever the case may be. But we got the job done, and we didn't show out doing it, but we did find a way to get those wins. So I am not worried about this defending Super Bowl champion team faltering and not making it to the playoffs with this squad.
No. I'm not worried about the playoffs, but I'm asking because in the Detroit game, Kelsey nor Jones played in that game, and this is the first time, I think it might have been one other time that Patrick hadn't played with Kelsey in the game. But I'm saying because Kelsey played and he didn't have a Kelsey-like game, he generally leads the team in receptions and yards and stuff like that. But because he didn't do that yesterday and they still won, does that make you more comfortable if in the future this happens, especially in the playoffs, where Kelsey's not a big part of, or he's taken out of the ball game, that you have more confidence, you still have the same type of confidence in the rest of the offense and the team to do enough to win? Yeah,
again, they'll find a way to make it happen.
I think because we were very critical, and everyone has been critical on these wide receivers. Either run the ball or get the wide receivers involved, and they have to catch passes. But they all stepped up yesterday. I think Noah Gray was their leading receiver, who is the backup tight end. I think that was, I guess that was an advantage for the Chiefs. But I mean, we can't take away from the defense, because the defense keeping the Chiefs in the game, so to speak, when they were getting ready to come back, because Andy Reid took his foot off the gas. They should have really blown this team out.
But Andy Reid has been taking his foot off the gas forever. That's what he does. He's not that run it up your throat kind of coach, and we know that. But we've got to go ahead, Darren.
Was it a matter of Andy taking his foot off the gas, or Miami's defense just stepping up and doing their job against the Chiefs offense in the second half?
I think he took his foot off the gas. I mean,
he took his foot off the gas.
You think about it, man. We always talk about Andy Reid scripting the first. We always talk about him with the first 15, right? Because the first 15 plays are always scripted with this team. And then you go down, you go 6 plays, and then score a touchdown. Why is it that you just stall after that?
And on a worldwide stage in Frankfurt, Germany, where we all expected, at least some of us expected Andy Reid to pull one of those trick plays out of his playbook, never happened.
Well, no, I agree with that. But what I'm saying is, as Steve said, they were on the way to a blowout in the second half. But I'm saying Miami, when the locker room made halftime adjustments, we didn't see the Chiefs make any adjustments in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, we even saw one time where they had to call a timeout because you had 13 receivers on the field.
Right. But that is a pure example of Andy Reid taking his foot off the gas by not making halftime adjustments, because he saw what the defense was doing, and that's where he's like, I'm going to put all my eggs in this defensive basket to keep us in the game.
And you can tell. I think some of the play calling is because the defense is playing really well.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like you can play like that, on a good
And
team.
and listen, McCall Hardman, dude. Sometimes it's okay to just let the ball go into the end zone. Let us start from the 25. Don't you ain't got to run it, but you are not the X factor. We put his name up in the ring of honor. We know where he is. When the ball come to you and you on the 2, just move. Let it go in the end zone. We can start on the 25, Nicole. It's okay.
And to McColl's credit, I think sometimes when the offense is at a lull, you want to get them started. Like he wants to have something going, but it's not working.
There's a reason why the Chiefs sent him to grandma's house. Now that he's back, don't mess it up. Don't mess it up. All right, we're going to take another break, and when we come back, we'll talk about some of these other amazing games that happened yesterday, and we'll also talk about this bye week and the schedule coming up, because that very first game is against that NFC champion, those Philadelphia Eagles, and they pull we'll talk about it coming back in just a little bit. So stick around. It's about to get a little interesting in these pots. It's the Red Hour. We'll be back in moments. All righty. Looks like we are back. Week 9 of the Red Hour, live from all over the world. Live from Atlanta, Georgia. Live from Frankfurt, Germany. Live from the Bat Cave at Q's place. And suburbia, wherever I am. Chiefs 21, Dolphins 14. A highly anticipated game. Tyreek Hill coming back up against his Kansas City Chiefs. Turned out to be a little lackluster on the Dolphins end, but we'll take that. Monday Night Football tonight, you got the Chargers versus the Jets. We have another boring Thursday Night Football game with the Panthers taking on the Bears. And also want to remind you that tomorrow is Election Day on both sides of the state line in Missouri and Kansas and in the other parts of the country. So make sure you get out and vote. Not telling you who to vote for, just saying get registered. Make sure you get out and vote. It's these off elections that really count and govern what happened around you every day. So please get out and vote. Before we talk about some of these games around the league yesterday, Q likes to bring up a point that camaraderie and unification of some of these teams and their team building is what makes these teams work as a unit better. But yesterday we saw a witness that ain't always the case. So shout out to Josh Dobbs, who was recently traded from the Arizona Cardinals to the Minnesota Vikings. Had no idea he was playing yesterday because Kirk Cousins is out. So the backup quarterback, Jaron Hall, was playing. But then Jaron Hall got pulled out of the game in the first quarter due to a concussion. So Josh Dobbs goes into this game, not even knowing the players' names, having only skimmed through the playbook a couple of times. They were actually calling the plays to him in his helmet. And a lot of times he had to call an audible. But this guy went out yesterday and beat the Atlanta Falcons 31-28. So shout out to Josh Dobbs. He said he actually went on live after the game and introduced himself to the Vikings nation. Like, hey, I'm here. Let's go.
Hey, but you know what? Sometimes we saw it early in Patrick's career. Sometimes backyard football works because teams and defenses don't know how to defend it, right? Like it's something that you haven't seen on tape. It's something you're just going out there and kind of drawing up plays in the dirt. It's like, all right, go a 15, hook and curl, and I'm gonna throw it to you. Just be ready.
Yeah, but not to take anything away from him. Just to jump in as an NFL quarterback is no easy task because not if anybody could do it, the Raiders would have a better record. But this guy, Josh Dobbs, went 20 for 30, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns in the air, 1 on the ground, and no interceptions. Without even knowing who the hell he was throwing to.
Yep.
Again, how bad you have to be
wide receiver too.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So when
I was like, that's one of those games that I can watch over and over. That's like that that Buffalo Bills Chiefs game with the 13 seconds. That's just like, I can always watch that.
Wait a minute. It's not that great. Don't compare it. No, it's not that great.
Dude, to watch this guy come out of nowhere and not even know he was going to play. So much so that he didn't even I'm just going to skim through the playbook and then, I'll get a good practice in with him next week. He was only in Minnesota for 3 days before he was off to go to another city and still didn't think he was going to play. And then into the first quarter, go, hey, Josh, he's eating nachos. He don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah. I know
he's in the game.
Stay ready.
And he wins it.
Get ready.
That part.
Yeah.
So the Raiders had their Super Bowl yesterday. They won over the New York Giants 30-6, and they actually treated it as if Deion Prime Sanders was a coach. They had cigars and champagne and dancing girls in the locker room after this win. This is their, third win of the season?
Fourth, I believe. I think is it the third? Yeah, it might be.
I think it's their third.
Yeah, I think it's the third. But I mean,
Jesus.
you get the Wicked Witch of the West is dead. So.
Yeah, you replaced the coach that wasn't working, put in a new coach. They played hard for that coach, and they won, and they celebrated like it was 1999 up in that mug. So good for you, Raiders.
But that also shows you start paying attention to the end of the season because you know which coach is about to get out of here if the players aren't playing for him anymore.
And that goes for some players as well.
Yeah.
Look at the dough. And every time I count on the Dallas Cowboys to do something for me, they fail miserably. Damn you, Dak Prescott. Dallas Cowboys fall to the Philadelphia Eagles 23-28. They had a chance to win this game.
They did. Like the refs held their hand and walked them down the field that last. And
the ref, hold on, one of the refs actually had an HR issue going on too in the game. Saying like violating them. So
man.
In Philly,
you can't. Yeah, and I ain't gonna let y'all put that on that. You got to get to the end. The receiver has to get to the end zone. You know where the line is. Get there. Turn around.
Oh, I forgot you were the Dak whisperer. My bad.
Well, no, and they definitely had a couple of situations where it was like a game of inches, and they just wasn't on the winning side of it.
And they was playing centimeters. They weren't.
Yeah,
didn't coordinate.
Out of bounds, it might be a different story. They could have kicked the field goal, and something else could have happened,
But Dallas be Dallasing. That's all I'm going to say about that. Dallas be Dallasing. The Baltimore Ravens beat up on the Seattle Seahawks yesterday, and they even took LeBron out of the game. the backup QB was in there scoring.
That was a mollywhopping. I told Darren, I'm like, yep, they're going to beat up on them.
Yeah, so it's about to get interesting in these playoff streets, as now is that time of year where a lot of analysts start doing that. If the playoffs started today, who's in, who's out, what does your team look like, and yada, yada. We still got 8 whole games to play. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they lost to Houston, Texas yesterday, and it was kind of horrible to see because Tampa was really trying to play.
Yeah, trying.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
just
man, CJ Stroud. I mean, he's that dude, man. He's not.
CJ Stroud had his game of games yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, and Houston, if you're not careful, Houston could lock up that number 7 spot. They're only a game out of the 7th spot right now.
Yeah, and the game that I thought would actually be a little more than it turned out to be, even though it was still kind of a good game, was the Josh Allen Joe Burrow series. Buffalo lost to Cincy yesterday, 18-24.
The turnover machine. Yeah.
Yeah, and Cincy looks like they're a team that's coming into their own. They
Here
got
you go.
healthy.
Here you go.
I mean, it just looks like it. I was
And it
wrong.
looks good.
I was wrong on a 3-game losing streak, so I could be wrong there. But
Yeah, can we talk about that? We haven't said that. I'm glad you brought that up, Q. You said that the Chiefs were gonna go on a 3-game losing streak. One down.
But listen, had
Miami,
the Chiefs lost to Miami, you've got the Eagles coming up as once they come off the bye week. Raiders game, I'm not worried about. Packers game, I'm not worried about. Then you go to Buffalo.
No, Buffalo comes here.
Oh, Buffalo comes here. Right. But the Dolphins, the Eagles, after we just lost to Denver, that could have been a pretty bad skid for the Chiefs.
No, it could have been. Yeah, but it's dust now.
Look, the Eagles should be worried. That's all I'm going to say.
We're going to do to the Eagles what Dallas couldn't do, and let's put an L.
And this is the thing about that this Eagles team, because last year we talked about it and Q refused to admit it, but Buffalo kind of had that Dolphins thing where they weren't really playing anybody.
I mean, I could give you that on Buffalo. I need to see it from Josh Allen before I say he's gonna win anything else. So
and again, they keep throwing that Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, those names in the MVP candidacy, but I don't think we're even there yet. If you had to call your 3 top candidates for the MVP right now race, Darren, who you got?
Ooh.
I've got Mahomes. I've got Lamar Jackson.
Mahomes?
Just because they're the number 1 seed and they have the best record in the AFC. Look, winning still matters in this league, and that's how Vegas.
All right.
Vegas has them, I think, in number 1, number 2, and I'd also say Jalen Hurts as well. So I would say those 3 quarterbacks.
What about you, Q?
I was trying to think of that earlier today, and I don't know, because I don't know if I'm putting Jalen there because he's got a lot of turnovers. I'm not putting Pat there because he's got a lot of turnovers. I had that.
But you can put that for any of these quarterbacks right now. I mean, all the quarterbacks.
I can't, and that's why I'm like, I would have to go like receiver or something like because it's not time.
Could it be a defensive end or a running back year?
Well, and that's what I'm thinking. It could be a defensive year. I mean, I would put AJ Brown in there skeptically.
Yeah, but the voters aren't going to do it though. I mean, we still got to be realistic. The voters are still going to be voting for offensive players. They're going to be voting for quarterbacks. At the end of the day, the receivers will be an offensive player. Defensive players would be defensive player of the year. Let's just keep it 100. They're going to vote for a quarterback as MVP. So it's a quarterback award until it changes.
And who's the quarterback right now?
There is not one standout quarterback in the league right now.
All right, man. I'm just telling you.
You have to look at Lamar.
That's what I said.
But LeBron Jackson, he'll fellas, as we go into these last 8 weeks, we eat like he always does.
I wouldn't say that. But
you're talking about right now. At this point in time, I'm
saying you're right. I did say right now. So I will say that Lamar James would be top of the list right now.
Yeah, I would say he's high up there. I would put AJ Brown in the mix, maybe, but outside of that, I don't know.
and nephew, you can't even lie and put Dak Prescott's name nowhere near this list. So why you shaking your head laughing? Who you got?
I would say Patrick. I'd also I'd have to throw Lamar in there. And before he got injured, they were rolling. I would have thrown Brock Purdy in there for the 49ers. But I would just throw a receiver in there or Christian McCaffrey. But AJ Brown, he's been balling. I mean,
Yeah,
he
AJ
got
Brown
over
has
100
been.
yards. Was it over? It was 125 for the past 6 games in a row.
I mean,
So
and
I
even
mean,
Tyreek is still on his way to a record-setting year with yards as a receiver.
yeah,
But
yeah.
to win MVP,
win the offensive player of the year.
yeah, for Tyreek to win MVP, he would have had to do something yesterday
Against that game, yes, absolutely.
to be held.
All eyes were on him.
Scoreless.
All eyes were on him yesterday.
To be held scoreless, to have probably the game momentum breaking turnover, like that's not MVP play. So,
And I don't know where he's at. I don't know where he's at on the yardage, but if he breaks the wide receiver record for the most yardage in the NFL season, there's no question of why he shouldn't be, in the race. I don't know where he's at on that yet, but
he's going to win offensive player of the year. That if he does that, he's not going to get MVP. I know we're having this good discussion about who could be, but it's a quarterback award. It's going to be a quarterback that wins the award.
I don't know, man. I think they can.
Ain't nobody made the case other than Lamar.
I don't know.
The last receiver to even get an MVP award was Randy Moss, and that was
Randy. Yeah.
That was his rookie, and not even a year. He caught 23 touchdown passes and broke the record. It's going to be a quarterback that wins the award. I love AJ. I love what he's doing. I love Tyreek, but they're going to be in the running for offensive player. It's going to be Christian McCaffrey would have an outside shot, but the 3-game losing streak kind of hurts him right now. Right now it's between Patrick, Lamar Jackson, and Jalen Hurts because they have the best records in the league, and that's what.
And Tyreek Hill, by the way, is at 1,076 yards, 8 touchdowns.
Yeah, wait, that's half the season.
What's AJ at?
Let's go and see.
SH991 says no Purdy, no Dak. And Croy Thompson said that y'all hear what led up to Mark Davis firing McDaniel. Yeah, there's a rumor mill. Q can tell us all about the rumor mill. The Raiders, the Raiders firing. He's asking about that. Croy is asking about the Raiders firing.
Yeah. So the rumor is that Josh McDaniel and the GM did this thing where they had Josh McDaniel dress up as Mark Davis, but then like to seal the deal, he ordered his like patent meal from Panda Express.
No. Mark Davis ordered Panda Express for Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, he was saying they ordered it, so he was like acting like him, like it was Mark Davis's order, I guess. So, but that's crazy. If that's true, like we probably won't find it.
And he gave him a fortune cookie. You're fired on a fortune cookie.
AJ Brown has 1,005 yards, 6 touchdowns. By the way.
Yeah. Okay. Because I knew he was at 9 something going in that game.
Yeah, so but he's got less yardage than Tyreek. So.
Yeah.
All right, so we have this bye week coming up, and then we've got this big game against Philly on the way.
Pause.
You said it before. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. You don't know what's happening on the other side of that plane in his whole career. So with this stretch of games coming up for the Kansas City Chiefs, and after bye, Andy Reid has one of the best post-bye records in the NFL. We are playing against the NFC Championships, and this is a Super Bowl rematch.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to be at Arrowhead. So what do you think this game is going to look like?
I think the league actually did a good job on how they scheduled it. Both teams having a bye week after this week. So you got 2 weeks worth of build-up at the Super Bowl matchup, and it's a standalone game on Monday Night Football. So I think all eyes will be on this game. Everybody's going to be there. It's going to literally have the Super Bowl feel. ESPN, NFL Network will be there. Everybody's and I think even the pomp and circumstance. I think the commissioner will be there as well. So I think it'll live up to the hype. That's the only question mark that I have.
So you mentioned all these names, but you yet to mention the most important name at this game. Is Taylor going to be at this game?
Why would Lawrence Taylor be at this game?
If she's not on tour, she'll be at the game. If she's not on tour, she will be at the game.
All right, so go ahead.
Well. I said Donna Kelsey will be as well. So both of her sons will be playing.
Oh yeah, Mama Kelsey will have on her famous Eagles Chiefs jersey.
Yeah, that's all.
All right, so Q, we'll start with you since you're an Eagles fan. This game, it's definitely going to have postseason possibilities because there could be the Super Bowl rematch of the Eagles and the Chiefs again in Las Vegas.
It could be, but I'm still kind of kicking myself for this that Miami pick because after yesterday, I don't think Miami's going anywhere. If they make the playoffs and win a game, that'll surprise me. But
if Steve can still be hopeful for the Cowboys, you got to have a glimmer of hope for the fish.
No. Not after seeing that. Not seeing that yesterday. They'd have to go on a 10-game streak from here on. Well, not even 10.
With 8 games left.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, 8-game streak.
Don't forget the Buffalo Bills are still in that division. So I mean, Buffalo is a team that they can easily beat. So
that's what I'm saying. They could make it there, but I don't think they're winning a playoff game this year. But for Monday in a couple weeks, Philly 28-22. I don't even think the Chiefs scored 20 points, but Jalen might have a turnover.
So are you saying that Chiefs win this game?
No, Eagles.
Oh, okay.
Of course, he can't go away from the Eagles. Of course, he's gonna say that.
Yeah.
So even with this defense,
of course, he's gonna say that.
Yes. Yes. You have a lot of guys that can do a lot of things. You have a running back by committee, but Swift is doing a very great job of carrying the load as the lead
Taylor Swift
back.
No, my bad. No, okay.
No, I'm talking about the guys on the field.
But fast enough, man. for the
but then I think there's a lot of guys that could do a lot of good things. And I don't know if this defense keeps up with that. So,
all right. So, Darren, I know you've been checking out the stats and watching the odds, and as we get closer with this bye week, you got a little time to make your professional decision. But as we do it on the show right now, because we won't have a show next week, the Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles, Monday Night Football at Arrowhead. What is it looking like to you?
Well, I do believe that the Chiefs will actually make a lot of changes. I don't think they're going to have as many penalties. I think the wide receivers are going to step up, and I think we're going to have a greater ground game in this game. The Chiefs have, I think they won the last 2 times they played the Eagles in the playoffs, and the last time I think me and Steve were up there in Philly, the Chiefs ran them off the field. So I like Kansas City in this game. I like them 31-27.
And Andy Reid is what undefeated on post bye week games?
28-4. 28-4.
Jalen stops that fairy tale.
Oh my goodness.
Jalen had 2 times already to win, and he couldn't. So whatever.
All right, nephew. What do you think?
Like we were just talking about Andy Reid. He's 28-4 after a bye week. You know, he's a mastermind when it comes to planning. And I mean, I don't think the Eagles go into Arrowhead. Q mentioned with all the stuff happening and all the people that's going to be there. I don't think that they're going to be able to. I mean, that's the 12th man, right? Like the noise is going to be a noise factor. I just feel like they're not going to be able to go in there and beat the Chiefs. And the way that this Chiefs defense is playing, I don't think they have a chance. Especially if and I always say this about these Chiefs defensive backs. They have seen every wide receiver that has been able to do things in the NFL As far as like, I mean, you get the Jamar Chase, you get Stephon Diggs, you get all these guys. So I don't feel like AJ Brown's gonna be able to do anything that they haven't seen before. So they're gonna be ready for him. And if I throw out a score, I think it'd be a high scoring game. 35-31 Chiefs.
Oh, so you think this will be the Chiefs' first 30-point game?
Yeah, I think so. But you look at the strength.
I guess an opponent that counts.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the strength of schedule for this Eagles team, and I mean they've been beaten up on all bad teams. So this will be the first legit opponent that they'll play so far this season. And you look at their string of games that they have coming up. I mean, you got the Bills. They still got to play the Commanders again. So they lost to the Jets this season. Don't forget about that. So we'll definitely see.
And the Chiefs lost to the Broncos. So.
Because I know we've been talking about the wide receivers and stuff. At some point in time, the wide receivers have to take it upon themselves to have a little pride issue going on as it relates to everybody telling them how trash that they've been playing and all these drop passes, stuff like that.
Hey,
and you hope
be careful with that trash word.
Well, no, hey, it's not me. I mean, look, you hear Shannon Sharp and all these other commentators talking about how bad they are. I mean, pride should be kicking in sooner or later to where you want to go out there and perform well. Because
Q, I'm gonna have you a T-shirt made.
You can't separate. Hold on. You can't separate from the defenders. You're dropping all these passes. Mahomes can't throw you open, and when you get open, you're still dropping passes. So sooner or later, the pride has got to kick in. So
I had to put your name up there so people know, so the fans know who said what.
But Q, I'm gonna have you a T-shirt made with the old barber from Coming to America going "aha," and the caption's gonna read, "They did lose to the Broncos."
They did.
They did lose to the Broncos, but we are in a bye week, so the Chiefs get a chance to rest up after coming back from Arrowhead, and then they will face the NFC defending champs, the Philadelphia Eagles, on Monday Night Football here at Arrowhead, and we will be back that Tuesday to discuss that game. But if you've got any questions or any comments you'd like to make, then just stop by the Facebook page of the Red Hour. Leave your comments, and we'll make them. And if you remember what Darren just said.
It's him right down there.
That's it right there. Where we at?
There we go.
Right there. Yeah. We'll make it happen. All right. So, nephew, safe travels. Cuz, safe travels. We'll see how we get back here. Q, enjoy your week off. And we'll do this again in a couple weeks when the Chiefs take on the Philadelphia Eagles at Arrowhead. You guys be good. Don't forget tomorrow's election day on both sides of the state line or wherever you may be watching us from. Get out and vote. Every election is important. Get out and make your voice heard tomorrow's election day. Do that. All right. Be safe, be well, and be good to each other. We'll see you guys soon on the Red Hour. Peace.